I mean, there is a definite assault against the unvaccinated, and you've talked about how even they recommend, perhaps psychiatric medication or something for people that don't want to take a vaccine.
So this has come out recently out of the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario. The college sent out a letter or a memo to all the doctors in Ontario suggesting to them, now so far they're not mandating it, they're just suggesting it, that any of their unvaccinated patients, that they should consider that they have a mental problem and that they should be put on psychiatric medication. So far, it's just a suggestion, but the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario should not be making these kinds of suggestions. This is extremely unethical, and this is a very, very slippery slope. If they're suggesting that people who wish to have bodily autonomy and don't want an experimental vaccine, that there may be something mentally wrong with them, that is a very, very dangerous, slippery slope that we're on.
Oh man, you're so right. I just thank you for your courage. The people of Canada are really appreciative of what you've done, how you're speaking. Thank you. Please don't stop doing it. We're grateful for you, and I know the world is also going to be hearing a lot more from you, Dr. Makis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Musk has called for an emergency meeting for all remaining engineers. In light of the uncertainty around Twitter and out of an abundance of caution, CBS News is pausing its activity on the social media site as it continues to monitor the platform, Major.
Jonathan Vigliotti, thank you.
Interest over all of our money. I know that education can't earn anything. So Richard, super rich investor. This is what they are planning to do. Priti Patel gave visas to...
And finally, before you go, today is Joe Biden's 80th birthday. Do you think he should run for re-election?
I think he should. I think he's extremely capable. What he's been able to do in the last 2 years is an unprecedented level of accomplishment. If he wants to continue, I'm for it.
Never let anyone take your joy from you. I call myself a joyful warrior. Right? Never let anyone take your joy from you. You do what you gotta do. And isn't that a wonderful way to live? To know you have purpose.
So I want to begin with the news overnight that Donald Trump has been reinstated by Elon Musk on Twitter. Watching the January 6th committee hearings, Trump's tweets were a big part of the story to be told. What do you think of him being back on Twitter?
I think it's a terrible mistake, and you're absolutely right. As we showed in the January 6th hearings, the president used that platform to incite that attack on the Capitol. His comments about the vice president, his own vice president, put Mike Pence's life in danger. He showed no remorse about that. He continues to lie about his actions on that day. He talks about pardoning the people who attacked police officers and attacked the Capitol that day. And it contradicts what Elon Musk said, that he was going to establish a council to evaluate this, and further contradicts Musk and his claimed concern about bots on his own platform, to subject the decision to a poll on the platform that could be easily abused that way. It just underscores the erratic leadership of Twitter now under Musk, but also the security concerns with security people fleeing Twitter. And what that means for the protection of Americans' private data.
Randy, explain that when you hear that, your reaction to it, and then kind of walk us through how rhetoric online, rhetoric from politicians can ultimately trickle down into real life and seeing examples of what happened over the weekend.
Yeah, the response is heartbreaking. I mean, it's a group of marginalized, vulnerable people who are disproportionately the victims of these sort of hate crimes, who are just simply saying, please stop. Please stop making money and gaining political power on our backs and on violence against us. And seemingly the answer from everybody is no, we won't stop that because it's too politically expedient, or it makes us too much money and we don't want to, or we don't know how. I've been following this since about March and April. We follow, online hate trends, I guess. And since April and March, really, the LGBT community has been the main focus of this hatred. There is a pipeline. It starts from some smaller accounts online, like Libs of TikTok. It moves to the right-wing blogosphere, and then it ends up on Tucker Carlson, or it ends up out of a right-wing politician's mouth. And it's a really dangerous cycle that does have real-world consequences.
We have a process here. I'm not calling out on people who yell. And you're being disrespectful to your colleagues, and you're being disrespectful to our guests. I will not call on you if you yell. And also, you're taking time off the clock because Dr. Fauci has to leave in a couple of minutes. I'm done. I'm not getting into a back and forth with you. Go ahead, Jeremy.
You can't make a press briefing. You need to call from people across the room. She has a valid question. She's asking about the origin of COVID.
I hear the question.
Dr. Fauci is the best person to answer.
I hear your question, but we're not doing this the way you want it. This is the disrespectful. It is. I'm done. Simon, I'm done. Simon, I'm done. I'm done.
We need to make protecting our loved ones an important part of the conversation we have around the Thanksgiving table, an important part of the conversation we have in the days and weeks ahead. But all the science and all the evidence we have suggests that we're probably going to need to update our vaccine again next year, and have Americans get vaccinated again next year. Right now, our focus is let's get Americans protected this fall and winter with the updated COVID vaccines we have. But it's going to take all of us to make that happen. So please, don't wait. Get your COVID shot. Get your flu shot. That's why God gave you 2 arms. Get one in each arm if you want. Go to vaccines.gov, and let's do everything we all can to protect the American people. Thank you.
I'll let other people judge the value or not of my accomplishments, but what I would like people to remember about what I've done is that every day for all of those years, I've given it everything that I have, and I've never left anything on the field.
I turned down a movie because I didn't want to get the motherfucking jab. I turned down $9 million. Damn. Because I didn't want to get the jab.
You didn't want to get,
Yeah, fuck that jab. And fuck y'all for trying to make me get it. So, I don't know how Hollywood feel about me right now. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? It ain't just Hollywood no more, though. You can go through the streaming. Streaming ain't got nothing to do with
That's Hollywood, bro.
Is it really? You think so?
It is. They on some shit, but you know what I mean? Me too. I'm on some shit too. So.
Cube vision.
That shit indie, man.
I'm working on it. I'm hustling.
I got a few dollars. Let's put something together like the weather, man. You dig?
Don't worry about nothing.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Got a lot of things up my sleeve.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Damn, turned out $9 million.
I didn't turn it down. Them motherfuckers didn't give it to me because I wouldn't get the shot.
Exactly.
I didn't turn it down.
Oh, okay.
They just didn't give it to me.
Oh, because you wouldn't get the COVID shot.
Yeah, the COVID shot.
Oh,
the jab.
The jab.
Yeah. During the pandemic, during the pandemic, man, the pandemic
at all.
You didn't me either.
Nothing. Fuck them.
I didn't catch it at all.
Yeah, I didn't need that shit.
But he caught it about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. Well, circumstances. I got lucky.
Yeah, me too.
Ain't gonna take no shit I don't need.
Yeah, I feel you.
In her San Francisco home, with some moral support from her dog Biscuit, Melissa Engel follows the rapid-fire changes at her former employer.
on the current path, I'm really, really worried about Twitter's future.
On November 12th, she learned she'd been let go, first by losing access to her accounts, then an email. She says other former full-time employees have told her they had to sign an NDA to get their severance benefits. But because she was a contract worker, that doesn't apply to her, so she's speaking out.
I'm not given a severance package. They can't take that away from me. And I think people need to know about this situation.
The layoffs, followed by an employee exodus, came just days before Elon Musk reinstated former President Donald Trump's account Saturday evening. Cal State East Bay professor Grant Kean says the move appears strategic.
He gets to say that he's rescuing democracy and reintroducing a certain type of political discourse on Twitter, even while it overshadows for the moment some of the really tough news that people at Twitter have had in the past couple of weeks.
While the focus might be on Trump's account now, Kian notes that the absence of employees like Engel who checked content will shape users' experience on Twitter.
Those losses of personnel are going to be felt.
Just over time, these things build up and the site will become more abusive, more extreme, and less reliable over time.
Alyssa Gord, Today in the Bay.
So, attorneys for the accused shooter, Anderson Lee Aldrich, say in new court filings tonight that the suspect now identifies as non-binary. In a footnote to a motion asserting legal privileges, the public defenders say, quote, Anderson Aldrich is non-binary. They use they, them pronouns, and for the purposes of all formal filings will be addressed as Mix Aldrich. So in other words, not Mr. or Ms. Joining me now, CNN political commentator Errol Lewis, also back with me, Al Franken and Joe Walsh. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's not anything that we had heard from his background. You know, people have been looking into his background. And I don't know if anybody here, are you guys lawyers? I mean, you know, I don't know if, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's what he's now saying.
It sounds like they're trying to prepare a defense against a hate crimes charge. That's the least of his problems, legally speaking, but it looks like they're trying to build some kind of sympathy or at least confusion on the question of whether or not this was purely motivated by hate.
That is what it sounds like. We'll wait to see.
It's coming. Like I said, that Google executive said we've created God with the AI robots running. They are machines in the truest sense of the word, unless they figure out a way to somehow inject some kind of human empathy into them, are going to be tyrannous, and they're already tyrannous. And they're going to be taking your money. They're going to be spending your money, by the way. They're going to be ripping your money and taking it and say, this is for taxes, this is for saying the wrong word or whatever. And it's happening in China. It's going to, and you're saying it's happening here. It is true. Everywhere in the world it's going to happen as we move more and more into a global environment. With what the technology they have, it's like I say, they're going to be able to say, you can't travel, you can't go here, you can't go there, you're locked in your home, and we're coming to get you if you say the wrong word. And they will with the SWAT teams. And the SWAT teams, by the way, everything's going robotic. Elon Musk even said this recently. He said, I'm trying to warn people, but they won't get it till they see the robots coming down the street at them. And I mean, in some parts of this country already, they're using robot dogs to go to the door. The police aren't going anymore. And they have robots, by the way, that are going to be searching and walking down streets sooner or later. It's coming, folks. They're doing it in airports already in this country. It's coming. And like I say, we have a few years, I'd say maybe a decade to get our act together before it gets so powerful. And like I say, 2029 is the era of singularity. But here's the other thing. With all this increasing machineness and AI, whatever, there's a concern that the economy is going to collapse, and culturally it's going to collapse too. And they're going to have to impose martial law, the so-called dictatorial state. That's why there's that 2030 video that the Pentagon put out 4 or 5 years ago as a training video for police and the military to get ready. And they're basically saying by 2030, they're going to take over and impose martial law, not only in the United States, but other parts of the world. So the American military is already thinking globally in that sense.
apologize.
Nobody's perfect.
I'm breaking all the rules. I'm breaking all the rules.
Well, I guess we might make some mistakes. Who knows?
I think one of the biggest problems we have in DC is that everyone's egos are too big.
I actually just prefer to have no titles at all.
You're opening yourself up.
I'm just being me. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the key things is that a lot of the Israeli public has gradually switched from a belief in the two-state solution to at least an implicit belief in the three classes solution, that you have just one country between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean with three classes of people living there, Jews who have all the rights, some Arabs who have some rights, and other Arabs who have very little or no rights. And this is increasingly the situation on the ground. And this is increasingly also the aspiration or the mindset of even people in the government. And this is extremely worrying, but this is what is happening.
So I'm going to cut you off there. And you'd agree with me that given that there was no regulation in place from March 2020 through January 15th, 2022, during the throes of the pandemic, there was no reason to pass one on January 15th, 2022, was there? There was no health risk.
No, I'm afraid I don't agree. In January, we had an Omicron wave. We were still fighting COVID, and there was a real value in encouraging as many Canadians as possible to get vaccinated.
So the purpose was to encourage Canadians to get vaccinated, to compel them to get vaccinated. Is that fair?
That's right.
All right. So that was the purpose of the regulation. That was the true purpose.
As someone involved in business would, why did none of the regulators do that? Where was Gary Gensler?
Well, I don't know where Gary Gensler was, but my regulator at the CFTC, I asked them, why in the world are you invoking the Commodity Exchange Act, Section 5, Paragraph B?
If you need a single location to get cutting-edge information and keep up with the rapidly changing world around us, tune into Grand Theft World, where a forensic historian and a logic professor break down the week's news in depth and in context. There's a ton more there, so go check it out. And don't forget to get your Freedom Vault on the homepage.